Greetings, kindergarten teachers. This is Diane Lauer.
And Betsy Porter.
And we are here to share with you our kindergarten curriculum maps and basically our thinking behind the process. You know, we gather together for the Elementary Mapping Institute. And so really, we want you to be able to delve into our thinking as we spend a lot of time reviewing the kindergarten scope and sequence and developing units 1 through 6 that integrate the reading, writing, and communication, as well as the social studies standards.
Please know that what we have created was our best thinking at the time, and these maps are a work in progress. Our best hopes are that you will implement the maps in the 2012-2013 school year and spend some time reflecting on the learning target outlined, performance tasks, and provide valuable input at the end of the year so that we can make the necessary revisions to continue and improve.
Here's a little bit about the process we used while we were together. There were really 2 guiding forces for us as we did this work. First, we were continually mindful that these documents are going to be used by teachers with all levels of experience.
Our goal was to make these user-friendly documents while providing enough information for brand new teachers and at the same time supporting an experienced teacher. We also know that with kindergarten there are other considerations, for example, full day versus half day.
Before we dive into the scope and sequence, we wanted to share some of our thoughts because one of them was really our thinking around what is developmentally appropriate for kids in kindergarten. We also thought about how do we truly want to scaffold the learning across the year.
And once again, we know this work is work in progress, and we'll always do our plan, do, check, adjust model and making necessary changes.
Finally, you might notice that there are going to be some changes to the sequence as to what was presented last August in 2010. We made some minor adjustments in the social studies sequence.
And the main adjustments that Diane is talking about is really just shifting around the order of the units and when they're taught. So what you'll see from now on is the correct order as decided upon at a kindergarten grade level meeting where all kindergarten teachers had input in May.
And here's that sequence now. You'll see now that the topic that begins the school year is characteristics of a group, followed by my role in a group, my history, then groups in different places, groups in the past, and finally, resource management.
And the new social studies order is as followed, which actually
connects to the literacy.
Yes, thank you.
So the literacy scope and sequence,
which is the schema or opinion, the connections for the narrative writing piece, retell, also narrative writing, questioning, explanatory, purposeful literacy information, research and reasoning information.
So now we want to go into a little bit about the unit map layout. You should be familiar with the different components of these maps that include the big ideas, the enduring understandings, the vocabulary, and the evidence outcomes. First off, these are taken from Unit 1, are the enduring understandings and the knowledge, which lists a number of vocabulary that students should know and understand during that first unit. Also in Stage 1, you'll see that we wanted to provide some information because many of the evidence outcomes are recursive. You'll notice at the top we did a screenshot here and you'll see where it says these skills are only found in this unit. When we do that, that means that these evidence outcomes are particular to a specific unit. You'll also see in parentheses, these skills are also found in other units where they may be taught all year or in specific units just inside the 1 through 6.
When you look at assessments, you'll see that there are multiple performance tasks, other evidence, and rubrics to be collected and shared later. So we encourage you, as you do each unit, to collect rubrics that we can later put in a bank that would be a resource for all teachers in the district to utilize.
You know, Betsy, when you and I were talking about the assessments that were developed by the kindergarten group, one of the things that kept coming up was the great amount of differentiation that kindergarten teachers work with. I mean, you've got kids coming in who are already readers and some students who are definitely not.
Mhm.
And that's the same way with writing.
Definitely.
So when we're taking a look, these are the assessment evidence from the first unit. Going into it, we know that in our bank, we're going to need to differentiate for students who are already writers and students who are learning to write.
Yes, and as you'll see, when you look through Unit 1 versus Unit 6, the assessments grow because we know another thing about kindergarten students is the amount of growth per year. So some of the assessments in the later units, like 4, 5, and 6, definitely have a bigger writing piece because the expectation is that the kindergarten students would be writing by then. Here's assessment evidence from Unit 1, and like you shared, Diane, we have options for students because some of them will be writing and some of them will not, but we also know the oral presentation standard is important, and so we've included some tell your teacher or what would you say and why assessments so that all students can be successful.
Absolutely. We spend a lot of time debriefing where should kindergarten teachers go from this point forward? What should they be doing as they take a look at these maps? Well, when we took some time for that during our closure, one of the things that came up is that all the teachers thought it would be really great if there was time at the building level to work with other kindergarten teachers or either other first grade teachers to just unpack these units and get to know them. It's really great to be able to do this with a buddy as well as doing it independently. We also wanted to provide time so at the building level, after you teach one of these units, we thought a really good thing to do would be to have ample time to reflect on your implementation of the unit. What worked well, what didn't work so great, and what could we change? Because that's going to be one of the things that we want to do at the end of next year is pull together another group or maybe some of the same folks who worked on it this year, but to just really have that reflection time at the end of the year so that these documents truly are living documents and they reflect our best thinking from our implementation.
Yes, we also were hoping to have vertical alignment and really look at preschool because we know that so many of our students in kindergarten come from our preschool programs here in Thompson, and we wanted to make sure that we were in alignment with preschool and building upon what they had selected, and then also looking ahead to first grade just to make sure that we as kindergarten teachers prepare our students for first grade and make sure that the alignment with all of the units and the writing and the reading and communicating, the social studies blending, all of it works together so it can be fluid unit.
Absolutely. And we know that next year during our early release Wednesdays, there will be ample time for building work and teacher directed work. So not only did our teachers in the Kindergarten Mapping Institute group think that vertical alignment with preschool and first grade would be beneficial, but they really thought that time to collaborate upon the development of appropriate rubrics that go with each of these units and each of the different assessments that are in the bank would be something that would be really powerful, especially if we could share them back up on the wiki and kind of make hyperlinks so that once you're looking at the unit, you could actually like click and go see different rubrics.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the biggest next step is for you as the individual. You're going to have that autonomy and creativity to really design the learning experiences in stage 3 that are going to best meet your learners.
And kindergarten teachers are excited to do this in many ways by themselves, with their teammates, and also with the sister school connections that were made this past year. We want to thank the kindergarten teachers that were part of this work.
Becky, Lindy, Carmen, Jennifer and Laura. It was a great time had by all. Thanks.